The knocks start as the digital clock rolls to 12:00, not frantic but patient, 21, and then the 22nd exactly on the tick of midnight. The house turns itself down to the hum of a refrigerator and the dry breath of an AC vent. You hold a candle because the rules say you have to. Your name is written on paper on the floor. A tiny bead of blood from a pinprick darkens one corner. You crack the front door to the night, then close it and turn the deadbolt. The hallway swallows the last sliver of porch light. Hot wax scents the air. The flame gutters when you move. You're not supposed to let it die. If it does, you have 10 seconds to relight it. If you fail, you sit in a ring of salt until 3:33 a.m. That's the promise and the threat. The game says something is in the house with you now. Your job is to keep moving and not let the dark get inside your head. This is the midnight game as the internet taught it. Props arranged like evidence, steps read out in a hush. The script calls itself an old pagan ritual, a phrase repeated so often it starts to feel like fact. Track the claim and the trail ends in the early 2010s on creepypasta boards where users posted horror lore written like a field manual. The instructions read like procedure. Close every door, turn off the lights, write your full name, add a drop of blood, place the paper at a doorway, then knock 22 times so the last strike lands exactly at midnight. Let him in. Keep the candle lit. Keep moving. Don't sleep. Don't step out of the salt. A text designed for screens slipped into bedrooms and basements around the world, carried by comments and shaky videos that made belief feel contagious. There is no credible record of the ritual outside the internet that birthed it. No ethnographic note, no archive of folk practice, no verifiable mention in print before it blooms online. What we can trace is everything that followed. Comment threads erupted, YouTube filled with handheld footage of candles bobbing down halls while voices whispered from behind the lens. A feature film borrowed the idea. Millions of views turned a post into a cultural dare. The appeal is baked into the design. It is easy to stage, cheap to shoot, and perfectly tuned for a midnight audience that wants to be scared within reach of a light switch. The fear works because the rules are engineered to heighten normal sensations. Candles drown in their own wax or gutter in a draft when you walk. The mind reads presence. Floors flex and tick. The mind hears footsteps. Return air pulls past a doorway. The mind hears breath. Stare at the dark long enough and vision throws phantom motion into the corners. Expect a hand on your back and your skin will prickle. Alone, your pulse becomes a metronome for imagination. In a group, the scare turns social. One person insists on bravado, another whispers they saw a shadow, a third laughs too loud to hide how hard their hands are shaking. The ritual builds the theater. The players provide the soundtrack. The script's warnings arrive stapled to claims that climb fast. Night terrors for weeks, voices that follow, scratches in threes, pets that vanish, players who disappear. The stories are shaped to be retold, but they rarely attach to names, places, or reports you can check. When you look for police records or medical files that tie a death directly to this game, the trail goes cold. There are no verified fatalities linked to the midnight game itself. What you can document are the hazards that live inside the setup. Open flames in dark rooms, long wakes that fracture sleep, movement through a house with attention glued to a candle and a camera. Those risks don't need folklore to draw blood. Fire comes first. Residential candle fires burn homes every year. Curtains, paper stacks, dangling sleeves, and a flame in motion make the danger obvious. The rule that says you must keep moving guides the wick past everything that burns. Salt lines add a second layer of trouble. Grains behave like tiny bearings on hard floors. If you are walking backward or sideways to keep the camera on the flame, A fall is not a ghost story. Stairs and glass tables don't care about ritual timing. Accidents do not need a countdown to land. The body supplies its own hauntings when sleep drops out. Fatigue breeds hallucinations. White noise carries whispers. A figure stands in the doorway because your brain fills in a silhouette where your vision only provides a smudge. If you finally collapse and wake in paralysis with a weight on your chest, that is a common, documented event misread under pressure. To a mind primed by rules about an entity that hunts by darkness and breath, the fit is exact. It feels like proof. The game also protects itself with logic that's hard to falsify. If nothing happens, that proves you followed the rules well enough to survive. If something unnerving happens, that proves you didn't. Doubt is framed as bait. Disbelief is said to draw the entity closer. A failed relight becomes a sentence to sit for hours in a salt ring, which increases fear, adds hyperventilation, and improves the chance of a filmed reaction. Either way, the result flatters the ritual. Strip away the folklore, and another pattern appears. The game teaches you to hear your house. After 10 minutes, you can predict when the refrigerator compressor will kick on and how the candle will lean when the furnace starts. You learn where the floor dips by where the wax spills. You learn what 10 seconds really feels like when your hands shake and the match head refuses to catch. Those are ordinary, useful facts, but at midnight, they read like a map of something trying to find you. Origins are the cleanest part of the story. A piece of internet fiction, written to look like procedure, crossed into video and then into lived experience. It joined a family of modern dares, bathroom mirrors spoken to in the dark, pencils balanced on pencils, phone numbers you are warned never to dial. Each of them a small stage that lets an audience watch fear do its work. Age is a shortcut to credibility, so the script called itself ancient. In practice, its real power came from the way it traveled, copied, pasted, performed, watched, and argued about until the comments made it feel inevitable. The phrase, real deaths, keeps its gravity because the words are heavy. What the record supports is narrower and more practical. People are injured by candle fires, by falls in dark houses, by panic that spirals into fainting. Those risks do not require a ritual to activate them, but a ritual can crowd them into the same night. News stories sometimes add occult framing because it reads well on the page. When you strip the language back to causes, the pattern holds. Human bodies, ordinary hazards, and fear doing the heavy lifting. By the time the clock passes 3:33 a.m., the relief feels earned. The rules say the visitor leaves. Your head clears. You find salt in the seams of the floor and wax on the baseboard. You notice how quiet the house is when you stop counting. If you filmed it, the footage shows shaky circles of light and the sound of your own breath. The comments will do the rest. Someone will swear they saw a shape. Someone else will call it fake. And the algorithm will hand the clip to a new crowd to judge. The Midnight Game took root because it offers a clean contract. Do exactly as told and win a story to tell. Slip once and face a consequence no one can verify. That bargain is older than the internet, even if this script is not. The safest truth about it is also the simplest. Fear does the work. The ritual just tells it where to stand. Thank you for listening to The Lantern's Tale. Subscribe for more true stories, if you dare.